All right, folks, today I'm going to do a video. I want to tell you a little story. I love my stories because hopefully my experiences can help you avoid the bad stuff or the downside that I went through in my trading. But I want to take some time and I want to explain how I got into algorithm trading, because I started out just like everybody else. I started looking at technical analysis setups. I looked at objective patterns, subjective patterns. The difference between objective patterns and subjective patterns is objective patterns you can explain to a computer and a computer can identify, but it's still a pattern. And a subjective pattern is a visual pattern where I could be looking at a pattern and you can be looking at the same pattern and we'll both see different things. So I started out trading patterns, and I wish I could remember the name of this book. It was a pamphlet, and it was a booklet about algorithms. And it wasn't teaching you how or the benefit of the algorithms or details, but what it did was, it was actually quite eye-opening. I wish I could remember the name of this pamphlet or booklet, but the book, what it did was, it had two columns. The first column was personal intuition. And the second column was objective criteria. And it had a variance. It had two numbers. It basically had a 1 to 10. And anything that, first it would say, okay, driving a car or learning how to play piano. And it would give you a number. It would give you a variable from 1 to 10, how good a computer can do it or learn to do it, versus how good a person can do it. And obviously certain things like figuring out if somebody's attracted to you. The personal approach was much, much better than the computer. So certain things people would do better than a computer, would have a higher likelihood of succeeding than a computer, or gauging versus a computer. But there was a column for financial data analysis. And the difference it was the biggest difference between the two variables I've ever seen. It was kind of like people are on a 1 level and computers are on a 10 level. And that really, really made a huge difference in my thinking. And I started thinking about it. And I started reading articles about how fear and greed and how human beings are pre-wired, naturally wired to lose money. Just as we are naturally wired to survive, we're naturally wired to be really bad with money. There's something in our upbringing, and I'll explain to you kind of what it is. You see, we get rewarded from a very young age, from the time we're in school, from the time we're in kindergarten. We get rewarded for making good decisions, and we get punished for making bad decisions. And we get used to thinking this way. We get used to thinking that when we're right, we get a reward, and when we're wrong, something bad happens. Well, unfortunately, this type of thinking, it's a great way to think, and it'll get you through life. But unfortunately, that's not how the markets work. They don't work on that level. They don't work on that bandwidth. So in the markets, if you apply normal logic, normal psychology, things that help you live your life, things that help you succeed in life, if you apply that to the markets, it's going to be counterproductive. So take someone like let me give you a really good example. I had a partner who was still is a major, I don't want to give names, I don't want to embarrass anyone, but he is a professor of economics in one of the top 5 schools in the country. He's also one of the top financial analysts. This guy is a whale. He's written probably 30 books on global economics. He's frequently quoted on CNBC. He advises the White House. He was very instrumental in dealing with the Iraqi war that we had. Anyhow, the man is a genius. And that's an understatement. He's really a genius. But I've traded with him before. And he couldn't make worse mistakes if he tried. his analysis was based on his perception, everything he's learned. Unfortunately, markets just don't work that way. Markets will do what you never expect. So that article, that pamphlet about how human beings appreciate or rationalize price data versus AIs or computers do, it was eye-opening. So I started getting into algorithms. I started backtesting. I wanted to take as much as my emotional response out of the market that I could. I wanted to be completely neutral because I realized that emotions and market decisions they just don't work because we are wired to lose money. So it's almost like taking a trader who's never traded before, putting him in a room, and you will see, theoretically, in theory, a losing trader should lose money very, very slowly and make money very, very slowly. But you're going to see something, and I've done experiments on this. A trader who doesn't understand how markets work will lose money very, very quickly, consistently, over time. You can put 100 traders in the room who've never traded, say, here's $5,000. You do what you think is right. You do what you take your life experience and you apply it to the market, and that $5,000 will disappear faster than let's just say very quickly. So the moral of the story is I realized that there's a huge difference between how people think and how you need to think to make money. And once I realized that, I honestly stopped trusting my senses. I stopped trusting my own belief system because I realized it wasn't my best friend. It was probably my biggest enemy. And that was the biggest breakthrough. That's when I started trading and testing algorithms. So in this video, I kind of wanted to explain to you how the journey started and explain to you that it was basically me developing a very deep-rooted understanding that my mind, what helps me with everything I do in life could literally be my worst enemy. Now, it doesn't always have to be that way, and you don't always have to turn your mind off, and I'll explain that to you. Once you start getting into computer testing and algorithm testing, and you start seeing what works and what doesn't, your mind will adjust to that. And then your mind will say, okay, well, you'll be able your mind will gain a perspective. So you will say to yourself, well, I want to do this right now, but I know if I do, the odds of me losing 9 out of 10 times is realistic. So what algorithm trading will do for you, it won't make you think differently. It's not going to alter your thinking. Don't think of it like someone's going to put a computer chip in your head and you're going to be this different person that makes different decisions. You're going to be the same person. You're going to still make the same decisions, but you're going to have some type of an objective criteria to use as your deciding factor instead of your emotions, because your emotions are deadly. Your emotions will completely bankrupt you. Each and every time. If you look at the best business people, if you look at the best businessmen, they're very unemotional. They're very logical. Emotions and business decisions are the worst thing possible. So you will still have the perspective of being human. You'll still have your emotions. Don't think it's going to make you into a robot. No, you're not going to become the Terminator, okay? You're not going to talk like this. No, it's not going to do that to you. But what it will do to you is it'll change how you think about the market. So instead of saying, hey, I want to sell, you will say, well, if I sell and the pattern's telling me this, the odds of me being wrong are 7 out of 10 times. You will start using objective numbers, objective criteria, objective gambling theory in your analysis. It's like counting cards. You could sit at a table and you can play a poker game, and then I could say, okay, now it's time to count cards, and you'll automatically change how you think because there's an objective you need to fulfill. But the point of this is, folks, your emotions, your mind is tricked brainwashed from the time that you are a baby to reward you when you're right and to punish you when you're wrong. Markets do not work this way. And unfortunately, we bring these emotional responses with us when we trade. And the first thing you need to do is recognize that they are not your friend. Your mind, that angel and devil that you have on your shoulders that tells you what to do, they're not going to help you become a better trader. the best way to become a better trader is to test your theories on a computer over 40, 30 years of data and see what the computer says. That will give you an objective criteria, and that'll give your mind a check and balance system, because running without rules, with money and without any rules, is a very dangerous proposition. So in the next video, I'll give you some more understanding of what happened in my journey and how I got there and how algorithms helped me and how I started getting into the whole thing. And I'll try to make that progression easy for you. But for right now, all I need you to do is understand that your mind is not your friend when it comes to trading, not till you expose it to what really works and what doesn't. And after you do that, it's a whole different world. Your world will be completely turned upside down, because the things that you believe worked, you will see based on math, real numbers. Hey, this doesn't work. Hey, I thought this worked. Oh, it doesn't work. Hey, this guy's talking on TV about buying 52-week highs. Guess what? When I buy 52-week highs, it's only right. I'm making this up. I'm trying to prove it's only right 30% of the time or 40%. The point is, you need to know you've worked hard for your money. You need to know every time you bet $1, you need to know what your expectation of profit is based on an objective criteria. Not what Kramer says on CNBC, not what you think, not what your best friend is telling you, not what the guru's telling you, based on what math and science are telling you. So in the next lesson, I'll kind of transition into that and give you some tips of what you may expect and what you're getting yourself into, so to speak, when you're starting algorithm trading. Hope that helps. And if you guys enjoyed this, like this video, subscribe to this channel, reach out to me, support@marketgeeks.com or roger@wealthpress.com, and I'll respond to you personally. Take care.